Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you're having a fantastic day and a great start to your weekend. My name is Teresa and I love all things makeup, beauty and skincare. So on the weekends I like to hang out with you guys and talk about all the stuff that has come out. Well, little caveat, not quite all of the stuff because there's so many releases every single week that this would just be annoying and lengthy and, let's be real, a little bit boring. So to help me with that, you guys tag me in the stuff that you think is actually worth talking about, commenting on. So a massive thank you to everyone who has tagged me, DM'd me, etc. Your names are being displayed right now. I so appreciate it. Without you, there wouldn't be any sort of an episode. As per usual, a massive thank you to my YouTube community members. My goodness, you're a good bunch. We hang out sometimes. We do lives, there's giveaways, it's a thing. It's not in any way anything nefarious. Yeah, it's grand. Anyways, there's a storm a brewing as I'm filming, so let's hope that nothing goes wrong. But there's a few things to talk about. So what I am going to ask you to do is make sure you get your beverage, maybe some snacks. I've got my cute little cat mug, obviously filled with tea. Are we that surprised? Some things just don't change, and isn't that nice? An autistic doesn't like change, it just is what it is. Anyways, my friends, let's get straight on into it. So this first thing is actually from MAC Cosmetics and it is their future collection for spring 2025. As per usual, these collections are limited edition, so if there's something that you see in here, best get it sooner rather than later. There's a few different things, and do I think they're necessarily all created equally? Not really. However, I have been kind of loving anything I've got from MAC lately, so it is what it is. This was actually put over on Trend Mood, so there's not a lot of information on it, so I don't have prices, I don't have release dates other than them saying sometime at the end of January, so I guess we're gonna have to sort of figure it out ourselves. There are a few things. So obviously there's a 6-pan eyeshadow palette. There seems to be 2 blushes in there. Pretty safe colours, but I will say I quite like their, is it Glow and Play Bounce blusher? I can't even remember the name, but I like that. It is quite nice. They have their Luster Glass lipstick. They have 2 Maximal Silky Matte lipsticks. They've been doing a lot of lipsticks lately, like reformulating and coming out with some older shades, which is actually a lot of fun. The Glow Play Tender Talk Lip Balm. There's 3 lip pencils, which I'm very excited about because one of them looks kind of cool toned, at least based upon the pictures. So there's something happening there. They say that the cream blushes, by the way, are skin finishes, so that's interesting. There's a Fix and Stay Over, which I mean is kind of what they do all the time, and their Stack Mascara. So basically the Fix and Stay Over and the Stack Mascara are existing products but slightly different packaging. So let's have a little chat about, we'll talk about the eyeshadow palette. Here's the thing, like I quite like MAC eyeshadows. I just feel that sometimes their colour stories are a little bit all over the place. Like they're individually grand, they're actually very nice. I have a few of their Dazzle shadows and they're fantastic. But I think they've actually like gotten rid of them or they're discontinuing them. This is fine. I wouldn't necessarily associate this as being a spring release. This is much more wintry. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's kind of a bit all over the place. I'm reserving judgment because obviously there's no swatches, there's no looks on the eye, you know, really having to figure that out. The blushes, I like those shades. I think they're very nice. Depends on the price, but you know what? I don't hate it, don't hate it. The MAC Stack Mascara, I haven't actually tried it. I have it in my to try box for when my mascara runs out or needs to be thrown away because it's gross and I don't want to stab myself in the eye with it. That looks fine. I like their fixing spray. The Glow Play Balm, it's fine. I'm sure there'll be an influencer somewhere who'll pretend that they don't know how to use a lip balm and put on too much. That was such a stupid marketing ploy, but there you go. The lipsticks, they're fine. I feel like maybe these lipsticks aren't as strong as their recent nude collection, but that might just be me projecting my own feelings because I felt very excited about the nude collection. That being said, I like that sort of a reddish tone. Are we surprised? I love a little bit of a red. I think that looks quite nice. Do you see the lip pencil in the middle? That looks a little bit grey toned. If that is a grey toned neutral, I could be convinced. But obviously we don't have any swatches, etc. At the moment we've no prices. Here's my issue. There's some interesting things in here, but with it being limited edition, I kind of go, I'd understand, say, like an eyeshadow palette being limited edition. That's grand. Maybe even a blush being limited edition, because it's very hard to pan a blush. But with things like lip pencils, like you go through those pretty quickly. Or maybe I do, because I'm just like drawing them all over myself. So I don't understand why things like that are made limited edition. And I'm currently going through, I have one of my favourite lip pencil, the best. Those of you who've watched me for a while, you know what I'm going to say. It's a Lime Crime Topist. And I have that left and I'm very unwilling to part with it or use it at this point, which is also very unhealthy. Partly because I am keeping it for if I ever start a brand, so that I have something to be like, this is the shade that I want and I can't find it anywhere. So anyways, that's not the point. But I don't like getting something like that and then finding that I'd love it and then realizing that I can't get it anymore. That would drive me absolutely bonkers. So I don't 100% understand that. In general, you know what? I feel like MAC are actually doing pretty well. Do they do the most exciting releases? No, they don't. I don't sit here going like, oh my god, their eyeshadow palette's amazing. But it's like they're unique individual things. You get in there, you put your little paws into it, and I'm like, okay, that's not bad actually. That's quite interesting. So I'm going to reserve some judgment on this. I want to see them. I will say this right now. If that middle lip liner that I'm looking at is very good and is exactly the colour that I want, I don't want anyone judging me for getting several of them. I know it's unhealthy, but whatever, I don't care. You're not my real mum. You can't tell me what to do. Anyways, whatever. Then we have Rare Beauty, and this is their Soft Pinch Liquid Contour. There's 7 shades, which, you know, I'm sure you're probably like, 7 shades, that doesn't feel like a lot, but it goes from very light through to very dark. So they're $28 each. Now, her prices have increased in the new year. They were very transparent about that. It's something to do with like ingredients are harder to source, they're more expensive, etc. But they did send out an email to people who are signed up to their newsletter just to say that that's what's going on. So for that $28, you get 0.5 ounces or 14.88 mil, so just under 15 mil. I will say though, a little of that product goes a long way. Anyone who tried the blush knows exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Sephora claims that it's a natural finish and it's long wearing. It's also vegan and cruelty free. I've seen a couple of people over on TikTok using them, and they do seem to be very, very pigmented, like literally just a dot, less than a dot, a half of a dot. Think about the dot and then maybe put it on. It's pigmented is all I can say. The other thing I will say, and sorry, bear with me, I get a little bit annoyed when people mix up contours and bronzers. Like, in today's world, is it really that big of a deal to get like contours and bronzers mixed up? No. In the grand scheme of things, I think it's a very like small thing for me to rage about. But you know what? It's my channel. I can get a bit miffed if I want to. It's interesting because when I look at them, there's a few of these that I'm like, okay, these are for sure contour shades. Like, for sure. The shades Gentle and Solace, I can see them as contour shades. And then the shades Mellow and Serene, I'm not 100% certain. Like, they look a little bit more warm toned. That being said though, it's funny whenever they swatch them on like the arms, because it's not going to suit all of the skin tones obviously, and a lot of these are going to look very, very different on specific undertones. So maybe those ones, Mellow and Serene, are built for like very, very different skin tones like olives, etc., and it might kind of pull a little bit better on them. I don't know. I just find kind of swatching them that way is a little bit strange. So I do appreciate that they've shown them. Again though, that being said, and again, it might just be me, they don't look very contoury on. Gentle does. Solace looks like a contour, but the rest look quite bronzer-esque. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of drives me a little bit insane. Again, grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. Comes in the same packaging as it always does, you know, that little twisty top, which was a happy accident. It wasn't actually designed to be easier to use, it just ended up being easier to use. So hey, they kept it, why not? It's grand. $28, it's not the worst price. It isn't. Like, do you remember, I'm going to show my age now. Do you remember when Milk Makeup did their like bronzers and it came in the little stick? And I say little stick, it was actually quite a big stick, and you paid X amount for it. And then they were like, hey, here's the mini. And they decided to reformulate or whatever. And they're like, here's our regular size. But the regular size was then the size of the mini. And that's like that price. So I feel like you're actually getting a decent amount of product for that. And there's still people who are on their first bottle of the blush. Like, it's pigmented, so you don't need a lot. That's the other kind of, on the other side, the slight negative thing about this is they're so pigmented that it can go wrong very quickly. So I'm personally, I get a bit like, oh, I don't know if that would work for me. I'm grand with going overboard on blush because I'm like, that's grand. I'm okay with looking like I've been slapped in the face, that's fine. But I don't want to look like I have mutton chops. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit scared. Maybe that's just me. I'm intimidated. I'm not the most amazing in terms of makeup skills, so maybe it's just me. It's something that definitely was missing out of the line which is grand. And I know 7 shades doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it does go from very light to very dark. So hey, seems decent. But for me, I think I will be skipping out on that simply because I could see that going very wrong for me very, very quickly, and just me looking very like gaunt and ghostly. Although I think I could get away with looking gaunt, you know, get some cheekbones carved in there. But yeah, it's grand. It's just not something that's necessarily calling out to me. Then we have Notoriously Morbid, and this is their Life and Death palette, and it's retailing for $34.99. What I will say though is if you really like the look of this, you're best to get it sooner rather than later, because they said that this collection is only available until mid-March, so it seems to be extremely limited. All of the shadows are vegan, however the shades Goddess of Spring, Asphodel Fields and Diop Days are not lip safe, so don't be messing with those. The palette is hand pressed by the staff at Notoriously Morbid, and it's using their OG formula, so they do say that there will be some imperfections due to the hand pressing of it all. I like this colour story. You know me, I like green mixed in with some pinky purples. I like the tones. I kind of feel like maybe they needed an extra green in there, like a green matte, like a pale green matte, because we've only one dark green, and that's, you know, the matte, and we've no light green. Maybe that's, again, I'm being very, very pernickety. I feel like it would balance it out ever so slightly. Like they could have taken maybe that greyish tone that's down in the bottom middle out and put in like a really nice sagey green. That would have been very, very pretty. Not that I'm saying that this isn't pretty. $34.99. It's okay. I do feel it's pricey enough for what you're looking at, but it is like an indie brand. It's hand pressed, etc. So I'm not going to whinge too much. It doesn't look like the shimmers are anything of like a very, very interesting formula. Like we're not looking at multi-chromes, etc. They're pretty standard. They're grand, you know. I suppose if you're looking for really traditional indie, like properly indie of I have this company and I'm independently pressing my own shadows and I'm not going to a lab to formulate these particular things and pick shadows out of a catalogue, grand. That's going to be it for you. I like the colour story. I'd have only made like little tweaks to it, but I think it's actually quite pretty. I like even the cover art. Like that is really nice. I don't know that much about Notoriously Morbid. I've never ordered from them directly, so I can't speak as to what they're like in terms of their shipping. You know the deal, lads. Always go out, do your research, etc. Don't be foolish like me and just wander off and buy things willy-nilly and then be like, what's going on? You know, do your research. But yeah, I like the look of that. It's not a bad one. I'm not personally going to pick it up simply because I did I did have a little bit of a splurge the other day because it was payday, and I'm going to get to that later. But my goodness, I don't need any more things. And I need to like actually tattoo that to some part of my body to remind me of there's only so much that you need, Tracy. You can't take it with you. You're just being a silly goose. But yeah, I think it's quite pretty. The next one, this is Dedes Signature, and this is available as you're watching. This is the Blush and Glow collection, where bold and daring meet inclusivity. So you have some blush trios. There's the Bliss Blush Trio, Delight, Azalea and Geranium. So they're vibrant and warm tones for a sun-kissed finish. That's $22.99. And they have another trio as well, which is a more pinky one. That's the Pinched Cheeks Blush Trio. That has Mulberry, Tangerine and Carnation. That is also $22.99. And they have the Dazzling Bronze Highlighter, a luminous gradient multi-dimensional chrome single pan for a radiant glow, which is retailing for $20.99. Now, if Dedes Signature sounds familiar to you, it's because they did a collaboration with Makeup on Your Radar a couple of months ago. And until then, I hadn't actually tried any of their products, and they're really nice. Super pigmented, which is exactly what you'd expect from a POC brand. So if you're looking for high pigment, this might be the one for you. I think it's pretty darn good. And speaking of Makeup on Your Radar, she does have a code, Radar10, so it'll get you some money off if, you know, you're clever and don't want to be spending money unnecessarily. So that would mean that essentially, instead of it being $22.99 for the blush, it'd be like $20.70, which isn't bad. That's retailing as like $6.90 per blush. Oh, I like this. I think this is really pretty. And can I just say, nice to see a brand come out with a collection that isn't just all like, here's some eyeshadow palettes, blah, blah, blah. It's nice to actually see just face products. You know me, I love orangey blushes. I think they're so much fun. I love that they popped in a red into that one. Like, that is beautiful. Oh, the pink and lilac one. That is just stunning, isn't it? Like, that is genuinely so, so beautiful. Very high pigment, very blendable. I'm kind of assuming that her blush formula is going to be kind of similar to some of the mattes in her eyeshadows, in which case, fabulous. I am looking forward to seeing what it looks like on the face, because as I'm sitting down and doing this, I don't have any pictures of it applied to the face, because you can only tell so much by looking at it in the pan. But I'm intrigued by that. I'm also very intrigued by that kind of highlighter. Is it even a highlighter? Is it more of like a blowy blush? Blowy blush? Glowy blush. My goodness. I have been struggling with my words all day today. It's not even funny how much I've been stumbling over my words. That looks really pretty. It reminds me of spring, of summer. Actually, I bought a handbag years ago when I was a teenager in Paris, and it had those colours in it, and I thought I was the tits. I was like, here I am, the height of fashion. I was going to say the height of fashion. Oh guys, I should not be filming. What is wrong with me? So that actually reminds me of that handbag. I wonder, do I still have it? It probably is somewhere, because I'm a terrible little pack rat. I like the look of this. I like Dedes signature. I feel like they do some really interesting, innovative formulas. At the moment, I don't need it. I have very fat cheeks, but there's only so much blush that I can put on, and when you're as pale as me, you actually don't need to have a huge amount of blush. If you even just think the word blush, you actually start to get a little bit of something there. Like, it's a bit ridiculous. I do like the brand. I want to buy more from the brand at some point, but I think for this one I can kind of give it a miss, which is good. Let's show that we're learning. But this is where I have to confess to you guys that I did do a big splurge, and it was on this. This is the Cheeryep and Freya 86 collection. It's a kind of a funny one in that there was two things coming out at the same time. One was part of the Cheeryep Freya 86 collaboration, and then the other one was just this Blossom Serpent thing that doesn't seem to have anything to do with Freya 86, but they decided to release them both at the same time, which is a bit confusing. So the Freya collaboration is the Flame Serpent, and it's a multi-use palette. So there's 8 kind of multi-use creams. They can be used for the eyes, the lips, etc. There's one lip mud and there's one lip gloss in that. You can get it on Look Healthy if you just want the palette. You don't want the outermost packaging for $56.99. If you want the palette and the mirror, but you don't want any of the fancy packaging, that's $71.99. Or if you want the whole lot, like me, which is what I did, and I'm kind of foolish, so don't be listening to me, you can go over to C Beauty Mall and get the palette, the mirror, and the outermost packaging, so the fancy box, etc. for €81.95. Yeah, that's right. I spent an extra however much for a box. Let us not even get into that. I got so excited. I think a lot of you guys realised how excited I was. The worst thing was that when I went on to C Beauty Mall and got this, it was like a dam broke. I've said this before, I'm very much in for a penny, in for a pound. If I'm making an order, I might as well pick up a few extra things to, quote unquote, make it worth my while. So a lot of things that I've talked about recently in terms of C Beauty ended up in my basket. And yeah, that happened. So I guess. Anyways, they came out with that Flame Serpent one, which was the one that I was way too interested in. But they also came out with the Blossom Serpent, which, as I said, doesn't seem to have anything to do with the collab with Freya 86. It's similar to Flame Serpent, simply in the sense that, yes, there are 8 multi-use creams, there's one lip mud and one lip gloss, and they're retailing for the same sort of prices. But I feel like, it's a bit, when you're comparing one of them to the other, it just feels a little bit like, one is definitely more interesting. Can you guess which one I think is more interesting? Yeah, let's talk about that one first. It's the Freya one, which is called Flame Serpent. Oh my goodness. I can't even put into words how excited I am about this. That shade, G815, has my stupid little heart, like that pop bright green, but then also that G813, that looks so grungy and murky, like I'm living in a swamp. This is the color story that I live for. That sounds really weird. But also, apparently the way that you get it is like they all come in like little packages, so you can display it whatever way you want, you can pack it whatever way you want. I'm very interested in seeing what all of this looks like together. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, I quite like cream products. I find they're just better for dry skin, for aging skin, etc. And cream products on eyelids tend to work pretty darn well, so I'm excited about this. Was it too expensive? Yes. Did I get overly excited? Also yes. There's something about this that is giving me, and I say this with the greatest of compliments, Maleficent vibes. Like even down to the mirror. I love the vision around this. I love the artistry around this. It just feels exciting. The more that I'm seeing of C Beauty, they're absolutely destroying me. Because I'm looking at their stuff and just kind of going, the formulas are so good. The color stories are quite interesting, but it's the formulas, the textures that I'm not seeing in Western brands, and they're kind of killing it. This is absolutely... It's beautiful. Like the swatches alone. Can we talk about those swatches? Because by the way, there wasn't swatches of the more neutral palette, but Freya had done swatches of her palette over on Instagram, and they also shared them across like C Beauty Mall and Look Healthy, etc. Oh my god, look at that pigment on those. They are absolutely beautiful. Now you can also get Cheeryep singles, so that if you like that but you're kind of going, oh, I'd like to mix things around, you can like add in bits or put in other bits. So it's essentially a palette that you can fit in 12 of the small pans, or 6 of the medium pans. So that's the way it's done. I think that's so cool, so customizable. So obviously you could go on and get like more powders or balms or whatever it is that you're interested in. Yeah, I obviously went off, I got it, I bought it on C Beauty Mall. Don't even talk to me, I'm ridiculous. Expect a video at some point in the future on this. I should not be allowed to have finances. But I found it really strange that they did that and came out with this blossom serpent thing, because it's pretty, like it's fine, but it is very like almost yin and yang, which actually kind of makes sense in its own way. Actually, I can kind of see it almost like Maleficent and then Sleeping Beauty. It's kind of giving me those sort of vibes, but it feels like they show the really interesting one, and then there's this. I think the Freya 86 palette is a lot more interesting than that, than like this one. And I'm not just saying that because I love greens, but this is a very safe palette. I personally feel like this one probably isn't as worth the money, just for me. For you, fair enough. I'm not going to judge you. Packaging, absolutely gorgeous, very wearable shades. Like even the mirror is a white mirror, so it feels, again, almost like opposites of each other. The frustrating thing about this one was I couldn't get swatches on the arm. They had like a couple of sort of swatches over on C Beauty Mall, but they were a bit like you couldn't see the whole thing together, so I'm kind of trying to piece it together as best I can. I just feel like that one was a lot safer than the Freya 86 one. I feel like maybe they shouldn't have put them out at the same time. It felt like it wasn't coordinated as well as it could have been. And also, if you're doing a collaboration with somebody, let them have their moment. You know, don't do something else at the same time. Or maybe they were just trying to like capitalize on that at the same time and hoping that people would get the two, thinking that the second one was for her. But she hasn't shown that second palette, so it's obviously nothing to do with her. She said, I'm assuming it isn't. Who knows? Anyways, I think you can tell what my overall thoughts on this. First palette, absolutely spectacular. Main complaint is the price, but that's because I'm a whingy bitch. I've definitely spent more on less interesting things, so I'm not even going to whinge about it. If the quality is there and I can make something really beautiful out of it, then who really cares? I believe it's meant to be limited edition. I don't love limited edition things, just because, I mean, their whole marketing campaign is like, FOMO, get it now or you'll never get it and you'll regret your life choices. Frankly, if at the end of your life, your major life regret is that you didn't buy an eyeshadow palette, that's pretty good. I'm delighted that that's your major life regret, because I have legitimate life regrets. I feel like buying a palette or not buying a palette is not going to be the thing that I'm going to end up regretting. But yeah, the Freya one, super interesting to me. The Blossom Serpent thing, it's fine. If it was like half the price, I'd kind of consider it, but I feel like that one just doesn't white equate to it. It feels a bit like, oh, you've shown me this beautiful thing, and now here's this. I can't even think of an analogy like that. It's so uninspiring to me. That's awful to say. The quality, I'm sure, is fantastic, because I will say I have a few things from Cheeryep, which also goes by the name of Clionadh, Q-I-A-N-Y-A-N. I don't know why I always have a mental block on that. And I do like their quality. I feel like they're just not spoken about a huge amount, at least not over this side of the internet where I happen to chill out. And I feel like people need to be talking about them because they're really, really pretty. I did swatch them for a couple of my YouTube community members in a live a while ago, and it was just like, oh my god, look at this, like they're beautiful. So I feel like the quality would be there, and if you do like a cream palette, actually probably that Serpent Blossom thing would be very good if you were looking for an all day, everyday type of thing. I'm not against it, it just kind of isn't for me, because I have stuff in my collection that I could use to get a similar effect. But yeah, Sea Beauty, they're coming at it hot. And I will say, when I was on Sea Beauty Mall, it was like the dam burst. And poor Trax was like, oh no, I told you that this was on sale, and am I part of why you made that purchase on Sea Beauty Mall? And I'm like, no, this was a long time coming. I got some Choice Beauty, I got some more Cheeryep, I got some Anthony. It was a lot, lads, is all I can say. I need to have my debit card taken away from me, frankly. I am not to be trusted. But at the same time, I don't regret anything, so, you know, you live, you learn. Then we have Natasha Denona, and this is their High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo. When I talked about this the other day on the Natasha Denona site where they display things in euros, they were saying it was 51, and then I looked at it last night and it went down to 50. So I don't know why, but it's now 50 euro rather than 51. I'd have been annoyed if I'd bought it at 51 euro and saw that it was 50 euro the next day. Not that 1 euro makes such a difference, but I am petty. But over on the US site, it's retailing for $42 US, which I feel is a little bit more reasonable. It's still high, but it's a bit more reasonable. So there's 6 shades of this. It's essentially an extension of their hybrid line, which has just kind of taken off. I like a lot of their hybrid line. I wish I didn't because they're pricey, but I do like them. The hybrid concealer, the hybrid powder foundation, that hybrid highlighter, which is so expensive, but it's so beautiful. I hate myself for liking it. So I'm looking at this kind of going, don't you dare, Teresa. Don't even fucking think about it. Because it is expensive by the time, and also I'm a terrible affiliate. Their shipping is dreadful. It takes forever. Like, they may launch earlier on Natasha Denona and say, for instance, Look Fantastic or Cult Beauty might get it 3 days later. Even if I ordered with Natasha Denona on launch date, I would still get it way after if I had ordered it on Cult Beauty. So I'd get Cult Beauty or Look Fantastic quicker. They're terrible. Their shipping is so slow. Yeah, have me as an affiliate. I'm super helpful. The 6 shades, they're fine. They're Sweet Cheeks, Simply Shy, Fresh Mauve, Flirty Flush, Flustered, and Vamped. All very pinky tones. They did say, oh, there's a coral in there, and I'm like, I think we're somewhat fooling ourselves. That doesn't look very corally to me. And even the one that they've called Fresh Mauve, I can kind of see the bits of mauve in it, but it isn't that mauvey, but there you go. There's apparently squalene, I think it's a vegan squalene, and sunflower wax in there, because they're meant to be more hydrating, which makes sense. They're cream-based formulas. You'd kind of want that. I like cream-based formulas because, again, I have dry skin, and I have patches of dry skin all over me at the moment. It's great. I'm so sexy. So thinking about cream products, I'm sitting here kind of going, yeah, that does appeal to me. It's the price tag that's mostly getting at me, and that's what I'm trying to kind of focus on, because I will say anything that I have from Natasha Denona I do love. I don't want to recommend it because it's so pricey, and you know, makeup is subjective. What I love, somebody else will be like, no Tracy, that's trash, I hate it. So I feel a little bit reluctant in recommending things to people because it's so subjective and because I'm a very specific skin type. I do like it. They're saying the whole, you know, oh, it's a weird ridiculous second skin finish, which I barely like the current skin that I have. I don't want a second layer of skin, thank you very much. That sounds like a lot of exfoliation. I like the colours. I will say the one that I like the most is probably Sweet Cheeks, because that's the one that I feel I could wear the best. They look beautiful on the skin. They've shown it like at various stages of application. They've really built it up to show you how buildable it is. I assume to just kind of show the level of pigmentation that you can get. I quite like that very natural glowy look. I don't do it all the time, but like when I'm out and doing like day walker stuff, as Wilma would say, I wouldn't hate that for it. That being said, and you guys know, what it is that I'm going to say. I have a lot of products, I do. So realistically, I can't actually justify buying these. Like, I say this and I know I'll end up getting it at some point, but Teresa, future Teresa, this is a conversation between me and you. The rest of you guys, you can just get past. But future Teresa, could you just chill like a little bit? I'm not saying that you can never buy this, because we both know that's very unrealistic. You are a monkey with a debit card, right? And with very little impulse control. But what I do ask of you, Monkey Teresa, because we've been thinking about Robbie Williams as the monkey in Better Man, and I really want to see that, but it isn't in the cinemas. Oh my God, stay on topic. Okay, Monkey Teresa, please wait until this is on sale, or until you can get a code for a good amount of money off. Then we can maybe justify it. If you can get it for 30 something euro, you're allowed to get it. That's it, lads. You can continue like getting on with the rest of the conversation. I think it's pretty. I do get annoyed with how much I enjoy Natasha Denona, because, you know, her stuff is really expensive, but God damn it. It is pretty, I will say. I even like the shade Simply Shy. Oh no, stop looking at me. Oh, even Fresh Mauve is nice. I need to stop clicking through my PDF. I do, by the way, a PDF of all of these, and I give it to my YouTube community members so they know what it is that we're talking about the day before the episode airs. And yeah, I'm looking at some of these and I'm like, yeah, I hate to say this, but I would actually wear every single one of them, because I'm ridiculous. Probably not vamped, although I am ridiculous enough that I feel like I probably would at least give it a go. This is one of those instances that if it turned up, I wouldn't ask any questions. I'd just grab the box, scurry inside, go to a darkened room, open it, and then just be like, these are mine now, my precious. Go very like Gollum on it. But can you imagine if you got all 6 of those? That's 300 euro. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So I cannot. The maximalist in me and the autism sometimes takes over and is like, we must have the things. We must get the things. No, Teresa, you don't need to have the things. Chill out, sit down, shut the fuck up, right? So this is a therapy session for us all. We don't need it. I'm a terrible affiliate, soz Natasha, but it is what it is. You guys know there's affiliate links down below if anyone does want to get anything, but maybe hold off, yeah? Don't be paying full price on things. Maybe wait for a sale, because you're smart. You're not foolish like me. Then we have R.E.M Beauty, which is a brand by Ariana Grande. There was a lot of stuff around that. Jesus, it would have been about what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when the whole Forma, was it Forma? Oh my God, I swear to God, my brain is falling away like wet pieces of cake. When the brand that owned Morphe collapsed and Ariana basically had to buy her brand back. But it does seem like there's some stable items that people like, because I know, oh my goodness, I can't even think of the name, but I know somebody was telling me they really love the R.E.M concealer. So I hear some good things, and I will say their Wicked eyeshadow palette is exactly that. It is wicked. I need to do a swatching Sunday with that, because it is ridiculous. But anyways, she's coming out with a couple of different things. They're coming out January 24th, so hopefully I have some better pictures. At the moment, I'm just looking at stuff that I got on Trendmade. So there's a Cherry Eclipse fragrance, and I'm going to briefly talk about that just because the smell or the sound of it, I can't smell it obviously. Wouldn't that be amazing if your apps could do that? But this is what they describe it as: a a blend of black cherry and marshmallow meringue scent. Oh my god, I love the sound of that because I like those sort of smells. Obviously, if you're not into that, it's going to be abysmal to you. I like the sound of that. That's their Cherry Eclipse fragrance. Now, depending upon the price, etc., I think I'm going to shimmy on in and have a little sniff of that like an absolute weirdo. Then in terms of the actual makeup products that we're talking about, there's the Dream Glow Highlight Serum, a glow enhancing serum with crystal-like pigment in 3 shimmering shades. There's Goddess, Aura and Honeypot. I'm useless. I don't have the info on how much they cost right now, but I'll have the links down below if you are interested in them. There's 4 Eclipse blush and lipsticks. They're new shades, so it's kind of an extension to the line. There are 2-in-1 blush and lipstick in vibrant tones Matinee, Off-Book, Cab Array, and Scene, to obviously show that Ariana has been in the theatre, darlings, don't you know? And there's the Essential Drip Glossy Balm in 3 new shades, so again extending the formula. They're in the shades On Ice, Cosmo and Cotton Candy. Apparently it's a glossy balm with a high shine finish. So let's talk about those sort of serum highlighter things. So it's a glow enhancing serum with crystal-like pigment. I'm kind of interested in that. That looks kind of nice. Depends upon the price, but that middle one, that like kind of icy, pinky, bluey, purpley one, that's kind of interesting. I don't hate that, but then it's weird because in the picture she shows like different ones, so I guess maybe there's more to come. Who knows? I don't hate it. They could be interesting. That being said though, I don't love liquidy products on me because they sometimes catch. So I don't know. I'd have to maybe leave it to other people to do the legwork on that. I don't hate the colours of the lip balm, lipsticks, etc. There's nothing that really kind of sticks out to me. They're not lip balm lipsticks. They're blush and lipsticky things. They're fine. It feels a bit generic. Anytime I look at R.E.M beauty, I just think of aliens. Like, it always feels like they're trying to go for an outer space type thing. I can't quite pin down what Ariana is or what is going on with her. Her whole aesthetic is a little bit confusing to me, but I don't really follow her that much. She's very talented, but she's not really my cup of tea. Yeah, they're fine. There's something about the packaging looks a little bit cheap to me, but hey, if the product is good, who cares? The lip glosses, I can't say it in any nicer way. I don't give a shit. Like, they don't look very interesting. However, they could look beautiful on the face, and maybe I found pictures in the interim that are showing them, in which case huzzah and salutations, etc. It's mostly, I think, out of this entire launch, the fragrance, and I know I don't talk about fragrances that much, but I do love a nice fragrance. I did buy a Killian's Angel Tears, Angel Share, I can't even remember the name. I think just to black out how ridiculously expensive it was. And I love sniffing it. It makes me very happy. That sounds really weird, but yeah, I love fragrances. It's brilliant. Yeah, I think out of all of them, it's mostly the perfume that I'm interested in, and then past that, yeah, not wildly interesting, but there you go. This is quite a funny one from Clionadh Cosmetics. This was apparently meant to come out pre-Christmas, but as many of my Canadian friends know, there was an absolutely horrific postal strike, so it left them in a strange position. And by them I mean all Canadians. It was an absolute SHIT show. My lovely friends Chloe Demure and Wilma Fingerdew got their Sinister boxes from Cosmic Brushes very late as a result, and how they managed to avoid the spoilers I will never know, but kudos my friends. And it just goes to show how much of an effect that damn strike had, because this was meant to come out pre-Christmas and it's only launching now. This is Clionadh Cosmetics and it's their Garland and Garden quads. So they have a red version and a green version. This is where you can really see the Christmas, like red and green of Christmas. So there you go. They're retailing for $24.99 Canadian each, or if you like the two of them, they're $44.99 again Canadian. But you can also put on coupons, so you can get a little bit of a further reduction on that. So the red version of the palette has the shades Strawflower, Tansy, Winterberry and Star Anise. There's 2 mattes, 1 shimmering metallic and 1 satin metallic. When you look at the green version, there's the shades Pinecone, Fennel, Holly and Woolly Hedge Nettle. There's 2 mattes, 1 shimmering metallic and 1 pearlized metallic. So kind of similar formulas across the 2 of the palettes. I actually like this in the sense that Clionadh Cosmetics is so expensive and this feels a little bit more accessible accessible. Like normally if you're looking at any of their singles, they're crazy expensive. However, I feel like the shades and the formulas that they've used or selected here aren't necessarily their most interesting. I know, don't come for me, it is what it is. I mean, they're fine, but they're not anything that's to write home about. Like even that red quad, let's talk about that one first. That red metallic in the pan looks really interesting and really impactful. I actually think that's quite interesting. It reminds me a little bit of there's an Odin's Eye single, but then you look at it on the arm swatched and it just feels a bit lackluster, and it's like, okay, great, this is more affordable. It's $24.99 Canadian, but we're not getting the full oomph of Clionadh either, which kind of is sad. I'd like them to do something that's accessible, that has something super interesting about this. This feels a little bit dated in terms of formulas. I may be being a bit mean, but like I took that screenshot from the video and it just, even in the video you couldn't see anything wildly interesting about it. I do feel it's probably worth that money, like $24.99. It's not wildly expensive. I think that's retailing at about $17 US. So that's about $4 per pan. It'd be about €4-ish per pan, but then I'd have taxes and duty. So you can already guess it's not for me. The green palette is a little bit more my jam. I desperately wish, however, that they didn't have that orange tone in it. That, I don't want to say that it ruins it for me, but it just kind of throws it off a little bit. I wish they had put in like a really deep dark green, like more emeraldy. Like that would have been, can you imagine a really deep emerald? That would have been stunning. Again, there's something that's kind of flat about these. They look beautiful in the pan and then swatched, it just isn't quite translating. I like the idea of these in the sense that they're more accessible, they're more kind of at the economic level that a lot of us might want. But I mean, to be fair, Clionadh cosmetics are probably never really going to be accessible in terms of price tag, so I'm probably engaging in wishful thinking in the same sense that bigger brands like Tom Ford are never going to bring their prices down, so I need to just STFU and kind of get on with it. I just feel like they were probably as well, that I'm going to sound really mean, not to come out with this before Christmas, because this feels like it would have gotten lost in the cacophony of Christmas releases. And again, I'm going to sound really mean, but it's not wildly interesting. These look dated. Oh, I sound so mean, but I'm just telling you what I think. And I like Clionadh cosmetics. I have quite a few of their singles, but I just feel the way that they've presented this is very 2018-ish, and it feels like they need to kind of move beyond that. They have some amazing formulas and I'd love for people to try them out, but again, they need to kind of make things a little bit more accessible. Even just making the pans a little bit smaller, give us a little bit less product so that people could give it a go. Yeah, nice idea, but the execution is a little bit lacking. It just is not for me, but there you go. This one, I said this ages ago about Pat McGrath that she needed to do this. She's quite late on the game, but there you go. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Glass 001 Artistry Mask, and it's available for €38. It's very expensive, it's limited quantities, and you get 16 grams. Basically, what's happening here is she had her runway, how many months ago was it? Like, was it 8 or 9 months ago? The Maison Marjolie, I can't even pronounce that. And it was just the coolest ever catwalk effect of this glossy glass-like skin, and everyone was tripping over themselves to try to emulate that. And shortly after, Pat McGrath came out with something, but it was just another one of those like pinky purpley palettes, or maybe it wasn't, I don't know, I can't even remember. That's how uninspiring it was. And I was saying at the time, why did you not do this? Because everyone was trying to figure out how she did it. I feel like this was just like, it's such a good idea and it's proper artistry. Like, this is exciting to me. Is it an everyday item? Absolutely not, but this is fucking fun. This is creative. This is stuff that actually makes you go, how did you do that? That's really cool. That just looks amazing. She didn't come out with this at the right time. She should have come out with this the week after the Maison Marjolie runway and gone, this is the thing, and it would have sold out within seconds. But I think because the internet tried to figure out how to do it, there's a couple of like videos out there of people doing it and figuring out how to do it with less expense. They're not going to go for this. Like, this was badly timed. I love the idea of this. Like it says, hyper shiny glass finish, hydrating and nourishing, gently reveals fresh skin. It's infused with soothing glycerin and rose flower water, so it's not going to like damage your skin for using it. After use, skin appears revitalized, and it helps blur and minimize the appearance of pores after use. So they're really trying to be like, hey, if you want, you could also use it as skincare. But its main thing is obviously for that really interesting runway look. I love the idea of this. It's just so expensive. I hate to say this about myself, but if this had come out the week after the Maison Marjolie thing, and again, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I'm just saying it as I read it. I probably would have bought it because I'd been like, oh my god, that is so cool. I want to try and do that myself. But so much time has passed that I'm like, Do you know who I think would probably love this? Chapel, Rowan's makeup artist, because Chapel obviously does a lot of like drag makeup, etc., and this will be fucking immense. Like, can you imagine going on stage and having that amazing creepy doll look? Like, that is so cool. This is exciting. Is it wearable? Is it usable? No, fuck no. But you know what? Sometimes makeup artistry isn't that. Sometimes it is something that just makes you go, the hell is that? How did you do that? That it makes you kind of scratch your brain and go, what is going on? I'm excited about this. I hope it does well because I'd like to see her kind of get into more of this makeup artistry thing because it is genuinely very, very interesting to me. I like it. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm not going to get it because I don't need it, but it is properly cool. In further don't need it, this is just essentially an extension to shit that we definitely don't need. Trend Mood talked about this. It's an addition to the Fat Oil family. In case you didn't know, it's NYX and it's their Fat Oil Chillz. It's a lip cooling lip oil gloss. Obviously they have their lip plumping, which is like, make your lips be on fire. So I guess this is like the additive of trying to balance it all out so that your lips are a normal temperature. Who even cares? It's a lip oil gloss with a jelly finish packed with fat goodness. Same! I'm packed with fat goodness too. Who knew I had so much in common with a drugstore lip gloss? Who knew? Although it's a lip oil. Sorry. I know, I'm getting there. It has cloudberry oil, raspberry oil and squalene, 12-hour hydration, comfortable wear, non-sticky texture and high shine finish. Vegan, cruelty free, and there are 4 sheer shades: strawberry chill, citrus chiller, kiwi and polar. Yeah, I mean, in the nicest way possible. It's grand. I don't really care. I've talked about it probably more than we needed to talk about it. I feel like they don't need to have as many shades of these because even on the lips they all look identical. If you showed me the lips and said which one does this match to, I'd have no fucking clue. Genuinely, I'd have no clue. That would make an amazing game, wouldn't it? Like if you were just showing it like a person wearing a lip gloss and then tried to figure out which one they were wearing. I could do that probably with the Isamaya glosses because they're ridiculous. But these, they're fine. Talked about it as much as I want to. The next thing is sort of a combined sneak peek, but also we've seen some things and this is kind of hinting at future things. This is Dieverune Cosmetics and this is part of their Smitten Kittens Valentines collection. It's launching on the 30th of January. What we know so far is there's 2 types of products. One is the Stick and Sparkle Pigment Primer, which they've never had before. They haven't actually given us a price on it, but there you go. It's a lightweight glitter glue that is slightly tacky that will not only enhance the colour and shine of your shimmers and multi but it helps it last all day long. And she also said you can use it on matte shadows as well. I like the idea of this. Depends on the price. Anything I have from Dieverune I've really enjoyed because I feel like Monica, who is the owner, she really understands the very out there interesting sides of like indie makeup, so I think that's quite interesting. And she was also showing all of these, like the outside of there's a possible eyeshadow palette. I say possible, it is an eyeshadow palette. And there were kittens. And she was like, ha ha ha, not sold with kittens. And I'm like, how dare you? Sell me the kittens. I want the kittens. I get broody for kittens. And anything that has cat packaging, I do slightly lose my mind. So this is their Whisker wet liners. And it has a cute little cat image in it. Do I need it? No, I don't. But you get a lot of product in it. There's 10 grams. They're retailing for $10. But apparently they're also going to be part of the full collection bundle. So keep that in mind. There's Tuxedo, which is white and black, obviously. And there's Calico, which is bright pink and a greyish purple. And obviously you can mix them to get various levels of intensity in different colours. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see the rest of it. Anything I have, I really enjoy from them. So there you go. The other thing is a weird sneak peek. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show it, but fuck it, I'm showing it to you anyways. This was shown over on Makeup's Alert over on Instagram. So massive thank you to them. Beauty Bites had shared it on their reel, which is how I saw it. Blah, blah, blah. Makeup on Your Radar sent it to me. It was a whole chain. So let's kind of get past that. It's a sneak peek at some new Charlotte Tilbury 9 pans. The shades themselves, actually, you know what? Don't hate them. I actually think they're really, really pretty. I know that I'm going to like choke when I hear whatever price they are. And I'm going to say right now, that packaging, sorry, Chazza, what is going on? Why does that look so cheap? Why have you got a plastic thing at the, like, at least she would give you at least some element of luxury. But I swear to God, if this is a 9 pan palette with that plasticky top and it's like 50 something pounds, I'll fling myself out of the window. Like, that's ridiculous. I like the tones, like even that kind of grey toned neutral, that's kind of pretty. It's very wearable. I really like the purpley toned one. I really like that. That being said though, I know if I looked in my current collection, I could find probably better formulas, just saying, at a fraction of the cost. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the more interesting eyeshadow palette launches that she's done in a while, but that's kind of not saying much because I don't really think of her when it comes to eyeshadow palette. I'm not saying she doesn't do any good products. She does some pretty good products. I do feel, however, in general, she sometimes gets more hype than is necessarily deserved. That magic cream is not magic. I'm sorry. It isn't. Like, that's overpriced nonsense. Things like the lip liners, yeah, that's not bad at all. But I guess we might talk about this later when we see a few more of them. There's something about this that's kind of reminding me of like the old school Hudas. Do you remember the old school Hudas, like the gem obsessions, etc.? But just more toned back, darlings. So it's fine. I'm going to forget about this in a couple of weeks, but I did want to talk about this because nobody else is talking about it bar Makeup's Alert. So thank you to them. However, we're going to end on one final sneak peek and I am so excited about this. Can I also just say, well done, Karen. I had kind of put in my videos about, oh, they've changed their logo, and by they I mean Cosmic Brushes. You know that means something else is coming. And she said, I think it has something to do with tarot cards, angel cards, and like the lovers. She was fucking spot on because they've shown the outside of the palette. So we know it's going to be a 20 colour palette. It's going to line up with the rest of them. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I hate it when brands change around their palettes so that I'm like, oh, I can't store these. These look weird. Ugh. Disjointed. This, I'm excited about. Now, I'm sheerly speculating. Don't know when it's coming out. Don't know how much it's going to cost. I assume it's going to cost the same as the rest of them. She doesn't tend to kind of veer too much away from that. I'm assuming based upon the colours that we're seeing in the palette or on the outside. We see blues. There's greens in the cloud. So I think we're going to have, sorry, I'm so excited. I can't actually even verbalize things. Bear with me. I'm so excited. I think there's going to be blues. I think there's going to be greens, because why would you paint the clouds green? I mean, why not? But there you go. And then the rest of it is pink. And then there's hands. So I think there's going to be like some neutral flesh toned colours in there. All I can say is I'll be getting it. I hate myself for it, but I am going to be getting it because I do love anything I have from them. I begrudgingly love it because I want to be like there, kind of going meh, meh, meh. But it's simply because I feel like I burn more calories when I'm being angsty and annoyed. But I do like this. Obviously, I'm going to be using my girl Tia's code, Tia10, TIIA10. It's written down below in the description box if you're interested, and that'll get you 10% off. It's already a low price, but hey, let's be real, none of us want to pay the full price. I'm excited. I'll be getting it. You just know it's going to end up in a swatching Sundays at some point. That's how I justify it. I'm like, I'll make some content with it, and then I'll make like 60 cents off the video. My return on investment is foolish, my friends. Anyways, that is it. We had a few things. It probably wasn't as much as other weeks. There were some super interesting things and then just other things that I was like, meh. But we have that, you know, swings and roundabouts or other paraphernalia to do with playgrounds. I don't really understand. I can hear the storm brewing outside. So I'm going to get to my favourite comment. And this is from the lovely Danielle Zadora, who said, I have 2 Choice Beauty palettes and the mattes are super pigmented. almost too pigmented, which by the way, that I'm not sure that's how you meant to say it, but I liked that little tone of like na 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 na, like, you know, you're in a film noir. I'm not blaming you, Danielle, I'm not, but I saw that comment and it stuck in my brain, and then when I went on to see Beauty Mall to get the Cheeryep Freya palette, I fucking went off and I bought 2 Choi's beauty palettes, including the Choi's one that we were talking about last week. So I am refusing to take any accountability as per the influencer model. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. So Danielle, you're going to have to take the full responsibility for this. Also Trax, you should take full responsibility, even though I'm a grown person who can, you know, make their own choices, etc. But I don't want to be doing that. Like I'm just a baby. I can't make any sort of decisions for myself. But yeah, I did end up getting some Choi's beauty palettes, and when they do arrive, actually, I'll probably annoy my YouTube community members and be like, do we want to see some swatches? And my poor YouTube community members, I think they're like babysitting me at this point, to just kind of go, okay, Teresa, show us the toys that you got. But yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll just cover myself in swatches and get overly excited. But I'm very distracted by the rain that is showing itself there. So I am going to feck off now and basically huddle down. God, English is so hard for me today. I'm going to huddle down for the rest of the night, and I will see you guys in the next one. But yeah, you know the general drill. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell because it's polite, and do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.